Yay! I'm live. Yay! Let me check what's going on. Alright, it is in 1440p, 60 FPS. Oh no, how do I get home? Right. I gotta find my way home. Alright, let's look for my way home. I'll put some videos on in the background, I guess.
To be a Republican.
Oh, for sure. It's incredibly cool in my opinion. It's so crazy. Even just being here in Nashville, a couple of years ago, I still felt iffy about like wearing a MAGA hat out. Now it's like totally cool.
Wow.
It's normal. It's still incredible that the New York Magazine was giving us that kind of attention and that we were making such a splash. And they were like, these people they're kind of cool. Like this is like an elite crowd. So the culture has definitely shifted. The way the media is portraying us has definitely shifted, which is definitely helping.
So, guys, young people are now overwhelmingly Republican. Why are so many young people now overwhelmingly Republican? And how is that going to change things going forward into the future and have an effect on not just men, women, but also society as a greater whole? Watch it end of the video to fully understand the implications of so many young people becoming Republican and what that means for society. Don't forget to follow us on Rumble. It's linked in the description of the video. And, guys, learn how to make a full-time living in crypto with courses and guides by visiting Angry's Crypto Academy, linked in the description of the video. Now let's go ahead and jump right into the first video.
Have increased their support.
So what we have is we have a very unfair system. We know exactly how the election actually played out. It was overwhelmingly for Trump. Men basically showed up. Some women even showed up for Trump, and they voted for him. And as a result of that, he ended up winning. But it's a greater issue that's now seeping into society, where men are walking away from Western society relationships, focusing on themselves and their own happiness, and women are now finding themselves getting older, alone, and not knowing how to survive or thrive without a man, because women were not designed to live without husbands.
Journey to how I became a conservative started when I was 16, really. I lived in a small town. I was trying to get a job where everybody else got a job at the local grocery store, and I kept putting in applications and I would not get hired. So I was really distraught by that. I was raised to have a good work ethic. I wanted to work. I wanted money.
Nice.
I had already bought a car because I had babysat and I saved my money to buy a car. I was ready to work. I had the time. Ever since I was young, I had had a talent with animals, and I had trained dogs from as young as 7 years old. I got a dog when I was 12, and I trained him to do agility on my own. And then when I was 15, I got another dog, and I was able to train him to do incredible things. My mom came home one day, and she's like, "You're gonna train my friend's dog." And I was like, okay. So I went, and I trained this guy's bulldog at his house, and I charged him like $7 an hour. That was my first client. And from there, my business grew and grew and grew. Till the time that I was 19, I got a second job and I worked 14-hour days so I could pay my bills. And I got an apartment. After that, I inherited a house from my grandma. Teeny tiny house, like 300 square foot. It was really small. It was like a very old brick house. And it wasn't livable, and it had stuff all over it, and there was no heat, no water, all that good stuff. I ended up getting a loan to make the house livable, and it was a very, very small loan because I literally did not have very much money. I got the house somewhat livable, still not really. I moved in the month of November without heat or water. I figured out who my real friends are at this time, because people, they didn't want to come over. They shamed me for having such a crappy house. They made fun of me, all of the above. So I was like, wow, like I'm working so hard and people don't even see that and they still hate me. and I don't even have running water or heat, and it's November. So keep in mind, this is November of 2019. So soon after I moved into this house, like right after that, I quit my other part-time job. And so now I'm doing dog training full-time.
That's absolutely, this is a perfect reflection of the hypocrisy that women end up seeing. What happens when you start putting in hard work? What happens when you stop living off the state? What happens when you're not focusing on free stuff? You lose your friends. Now, if you came from a conservative household, you would be, and you were surrounded by conservative friends and they were like, oh, well, I just got this house from my grandmother and I just moved in and I'm basically, I took out a small loan so that I can make it barely livable and I'm just restoring it on my own. I'm hustling, I'm grinding, I'm working all of these hours, blah, 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 blah. Those people are going to respect you. But when you're dealing with the liberals, they hear, oh, I'm living in a house where that doesn't have running water. Really? That's so ew. That's so ick. Like this is how these people actually think. The very same people that preach kindness, they are the least kind people. They are just trying to enrich their own lives and put money in their own pockets. This is the reason why we now have such horrible disparities in our society, because of the actions of these individuals. So she discovered that for herself, that she really did not have any friends, or not the friends that she believed she did. Maybe not many. Hopefully at least one good friend. In this life, you're lucky if you will have even one good friend. It's a sad reality, but it's true.
In home training. And if you remember, February of 2020, COVID hits and everybody's completely freaking out. I'm like, okay, like, let's try to figure this out. And the town where I had done most of my training in was like this pretty big city nearby. It has like 100,000 people. They are ruled by the university. Their politics are run by the university. They started shutting everything down and telling people that you're not essential and you don't get to work. You would either better find an essential job or just figure it out. I genuinely was scared that I was going to get in trouble by the law. So keep in mind, up to this point, I have done everything on my own. I've done everything on my own. My parents don't give me money. A lot of people try to accuse me of that. My parents have never given me a dime for my bills. Obviously, parents give you gifts, but it's not like they bought me a car or whatever. Like, it's not like that. Like, they'll buy me lunch or things like that. Like, things that a good parent that can would do.
Recession, sure, for 48 hours. Are tariffs going to destroy our country? No, feminism did. Why are we pausing tariffs? So countries can pick a struggle, something Queers for Palestine needs to do. Why is our country broke? Because you're asking TikTokers about the economy. Will Temu be as expensive as Air One? Yes, so now you can't afford either. How do we beat China? Stop shopping at Temu. Can't we just print more money? Open up the schools. Are your groceries going to be more expensive? For a little bit. Hopefully you learn to eat less. Are tariffs a power move? Yes, it's the opposite of when you took your ex back. Why am I being mean? Because you keep asking me about tariffs.
I mean, guys, men are tired of it. Men have woken up to the reality that Western society does not like them. That society is basically just there to extract as much wealth and resources from them and use them. And now as a result of this, you have men who are finally standing up and saying no more. The irony is that it's because as more men become conservative, more and more women are becoming more liberal. So as the young men become more conservative, young women are becoming more liberal. They're going down, and this guy, he pointed out the whole perspective that how feminism has affected Western society, where even as I'm talking on this platform, I have to be extremely careful what I say. I have to say things like, I'm not saying anything bad about feminism because of how our overlords actually work. And that should just tell you exactly what it looks like. When you cannot speak critically about something, that those are basically the people who control you. We live under a very, very controlled regime right now that parallels very much of Marxist principles. And what is liberalism? Modern liberalism rooted in Marxist principles and ideologies. Someone like Bernie Sanders, 100 years ago, would never be able to run their mouths. They would never be able to hold a seat in Congress, because the idea of a socialist holding a seat and spitting socialist propaganda, it would not be tolerated. They would be basically put out. Women have special privileges and men have special punishments. We can see what the consequences of this are. I wake up and I realize that, you know what, enough is enough. As men, we're just kind of like literally at the end of it, and we're just turning our backs on Western society, a society that does not even like us. That's why so many young guys are going out there, instead of focusing on relationships, they're focusing on getting their money and investing in things like crypto.
I just want to tell you a little bit about the Crypto Trading for Dummies blueprint. With this blueprint, you'll learn how crypto day trading can help you earn daily
rest of them. And let's not forget Poncho. Of course, they're going to want something that absolves them from responsibility. They're going to want to be absolved of their student loan debt. They're going to want to be absolved of any consequences that may come with physical intimacy, because they are being active with so many different partners. So while young men are increasingly avoiding dating, avoiding relationships, avoiding physical intimacy, and walking away from society, young women are out there with, they have more partners now than ever before. And they also have more student loan debt than ever before. So it's like they want special privileges while men are given special punishments. They want, it's not enough to give them everything. They still want more. That's basically how women work. They will always, the only things that will ever make a woman happy are more in something else. So for example, if you have a society where men are walking away from society, men are disappearing from society, men have basically given up and said, okay, we're taking our ball and going home. Women, in one breath, women will say, where are all the men? Why aren't men talking to us anymore? Why aren't men approaching us anymore? I've never been approached by a man. Why is this happening? But then at the same time, they will continue to demand even more protections for women. In society, in virtual spaces, in every space possible. And you're going to say, but this doesn't make any sense. Men are no longer even actively in society. Men are no longer in the universities. Men are no longer in the gyms. Men are no longer in public spaces. Men have disappeared. But yeah, it's still not enough. So when will it be enough? When there are no men anymore, when men completely disappear from the face of the earth? When men are completely gone, guys, women will still sit there and blame men. They'll basically just there's a thing called henpecking, where they'll just go at one another. There's no winning. The only thing that you can actually do to have a strong society is to have strong men, and strong men that are willing to stand up to the women. Because we have a society where we're not allowed to stand up to modern women. We're not allowed to. Our mothers, guys, even our own mothers, we have to be very careful with, because our mothers are influenced by this. They don't raise us to be men. They raise us to be SLAVEs, to serve women and to serve Western society, and to have our wealth and value confiscated from us and redistributed to women in the state. It's a sad realization, but it's a realization that many people have to come to understand what is happening to us and how you have to protect yourself as a man. Because our society does not like us. Our society absolutely despises us. We live in a society that despises us, that doesn't want us, but it wants our wealth, it wants our assets, it wants our resources. But it will basically just throw us away in a heartbeat. It doesn't make any sense for most young men to really participate very much in this terrible society. And have no doubt when I say it is absolutely a terrible society for men. 100% a terrible society. Guys, I've said it plenty of times that the financial system is teetering on the edge. ATMs are going to freeze and banks are going to shut their doors. Your wealth is in jeopardy. Discover how to safeguard your assets with crypto. At Angry's Crypto Academy, you'll gain access to in-depth courses, expert investment guides, and exclusive crypto blueprints to help you master buying, selling, trading, and investing in the most secure coins. Plus, uncover the dark horse crypto that few are talking about, the one that's poised to create new millionaires in the upcoming bull run. Don't wait. Click the link in the video description below to join the academy and secure your future. A hot chick, eating a burger. No, it's getting worse. It continues to get worse. What I foresee is that young men are going to continue going to the right, but at the same time, you're going to end up having, more than likely, a lot of women also turning away from the Democratic Party and going down this path. And I'll tell you why. A lot of it is going to come down to poverty, issues of poverty, issues of destitution, issues of hardship, where they're looking at they're looking at the Republic they're looking at the Democrats right now, and they're experiencing extreme hardships. Rates of inflation are going up, and the Democrats are promising them like a couple of dollars in their pockets. Like, we will put $700 a month in your pocket if we get reelected. We will have a UBI, and everyone will get a basic income. We need a basic income. That very well may be the next big thing for the Democrats, pushing even harder on the UBI. Okay. And so the UBI, which is a universal basic income, for those of you that don't know, is a concept where everyone in the United States, in some cases it could be every man, woman, and child, or it could just be people that have reached a certain age will receive a universal basic income of, let's say, it could be anywhere from $500 to $1,000 a month. And the belief is that by giving people that extra money, they will have extra money to spend. And that money will help to boost the economy and also lift people out of poverty. However, they did research, like, for example, there was like a billionaire. I think it was actually, it's the founder of ChatGPT. One of the founders of ChatGPT, I believe it was him. He did a study. Forgive me if I'm wrong. He did a study, commissioned a study where they gave a bunch of people a universal basic income, and they determined whether or not it actually improved their lives. What they found was interesting. Initially, it did make a difference, but over time, it began to make no real difference as people began using that money to pay bills and, purchase things that they wanted. In the end, it did not actually lift them out of poverty, and it could actually have a negative effect on them as they begin to depend on this free money, making them less likely to go and work longer hours that would potentially then lift them out of poverty. Yeah, so there's the note, and I've heard like some of the evil people have said. Baby boomers are already salivating at the idea of a UBI because it would mean more money in their pockets, and that they could charge people more money as well. That's how the boomers operate. They're going to suck every nickel and dime out of us until they leave this planet, until they leave this earth, because that's their mindset. They're not good people. They are absolutely very, very mean, very, very miserable, narcissistic individuals that have created so many disparities in Western society. And now we're basically paying for the actions of the boomers, which is downright miserable, which is why, guys, I keep telling you to, the ATMs are going to freeze up and the banks are going to chain up those doors. And if your wealth is in jeopardy, it is in jeopardy, you should go and safeguard your assets with crypto. And you should check out Angry's Crypto Academy, because you'll gain access to in-depth courses, expert investment guides, and exclusive crypto blueprints to help you master buying, selling, trading, and investing in the most secure coins. And you'll also uncover the dark horse crypto that few are talking about. One that's poised to create new millionaires in the upcoming bull run. Don't wait. Click the link in the video description below to join the academy and secure your garbage. Guys, it's a form of extortion. Be kind is nothing more than a form of extortion. So as I predict that a lot more women are going to end up becoming conservatives and joining the Republican Party because they have nowhere else to go. They basically have gone as far as they can go with the liberals. Don't get me wrong. They're still going to have a lot of the toxic ideals. They're still going to basically want to hold on to their feminism. It's about the next step for modern women, because I told you, women will say feminism got us everything that we wanted, now let's fight it together. Feminism got us everything that we wanted, now let's fight for one another. So after feminism gets them everything that they want, now they're going to go and join the Republicans, and they want to, because it's about maintaining the spoils. It's about keeping all the ill-gotten spoils that they have, and while trying to avoid accountability and responsibility. It's a crazy system. But that's what I really do predict is going to happen in many, many cases. And it's going to happen because of the choices that women have made. Women basically have pushed things as far as they really can go. Can it get worse? Absolutely. But for many, their lives are not going to get better, especially with what's going on with interest and all of this stuff. Yes, prices are going to go up. Women can't handle it. For most men, all we know is a life of suffering. Women don't know self-control. They don't know how to, they don't even, most women don't even know how to live without physical intimacy, guys. That's the thing. As men, we go for decades, we go for years, decades, sometimes our entire lives without physical intimacy. The average woman cannot do this, okay? When you see them putting up videos online like, okay, I'm not going to be sleeping around anymore, I'm not going to be intimate with men anymore, unless it's only about, it's for the purpose of getting married. And that's what a lot of these so-called new conservative women are going to be doing. Yeah, or we're on a strike. Guys, as men, we spend most of our lives without physical intimacy, and we're basically finding other things that bring us pleasure, right? For women, on the other hand, they basically need it on a regular basis. They don't know how to live without it. So for them, they're going to be going on a complete and utter tangent and a tear when it comes to physical intimacy, when it comes to finding someone who's going to be physically intimate with them. They can't, guys, we can live without them. They cannot live without us. Women are not the gatekeepers of society, of physical intimacy, of reproduction. Men are. We are the gatekeepers of physical intimacy. We're the gatekeepers of reproduction. We're the gatekeepers of society. We're the gatekeepers of prosperity. The only thing, we stand under God, and then women stand under us, and we both stand under God. But women don't understand that, and now they're basically going to see the consequences of decisions they've made. What do you guys think about this, guys? Young people are now overwhelmingly Republican. Let me know your thoughts. We'll talk about it in the comments. Like the video.
What's your age?
Mine, 38.
43.
And how long you been together?
5 months. 5 months.
Now,
I feel like 5 years though.
Yeah, that's rude, but yeah, no, it does. Feels like 10 years, but yeah.
But being that you're 38 and you're 42, is this relationship leading towards marriage, or is it just for the long haul?
I would answer, I hope it is, because yeah, I do love him.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm proposing to her soon.
When it comes on to proposal, is it about the man and when he's ready, or is it about the woman?
No, it's about her. It's about how I feel for her. So I'm proposing. This is my love of my life right here. She changed my life.
Yeah.
She changed my life, literally.
But what
you see, guys, this is really sad right here. Usually this is the point where I jump over and I say, you know what? Dating has become brutal for men. Today's video comes from the Desirable Truth channel. His channel will be linked to the description of videos, and go check him out and support him. Watch it in the video to fully understand the implications of how dating has become brutal for men. Why are men walking away from society rapidly, and why is dating like this going to continue to lead men to walking away? That's the place. That's where I would usually jump in. But yeah, guys, this is just so outrageous when you watch something like this. This man clearly does not have a good father in his life. He did not have someone like an angry guy, even though he's like a year older than me, or we're about the exact same age, because I'll be 42 this year. That's the little homie right there. Because I would never be out in the streets with a woman dressed like that, calling that the love of my life, and saying that I'm about to marry this woman. All right, that the way that she is dressed right there, that's an advertisement for other men, and that is disrespectful to the man that she is with.
do you think is going to make this relationship different than the ones y'all have experienced for the past 4 decades?
What makes it different for me, she's a beautiful woman, not first and foremost, as you can see. Like the way she loved me is way different than any other woman ever loved me. It's not about money, and I'm very successful. I'm a 7-figure entrepreneur. So it ain't about money, it's not about luxury, it's not about none of that. She loved me for me.
So being that you're the breadwinner as a man, does that mean that you pay
what a hoe.
for everything in this relationship?
I pay for everything. It ain't no 50-50.
Sometimes I pay for stuff. I pay for a meal now and then. Now.
You know what's really sad? Like this is some Kanye West BS right here, where he went and married Kim, and that marriage was never going to last. All right, it's like anyone watching this video right now, anyone looking at this video right now, can completely comprehend why this relationship is not going to last. Okay, this is a young man that, like I said, he may be successful. He may be successful in money, but he is not successful with common sense. Because anyone can tell him, little homie, this isn't it. You're the little, and like I said, little homie, that's the little homie, all right? That's the little homie right there. We might be the same age, but that's the little homie right there. To be out there and have no self-respect, no respect for yourself, to be out there with someone like this, you've got to be kidding me. And then 38 years old, this man did not find the love of his life. This man is filled with lust and desire.
Here and there, she may pay for
He
something,
pays
but
for everything. Yeah, I think he should. He's my husband.
Why is that emphasis put on you as a man, even if she's making a lot of money herself?
listen, it's not all about me. You know what I'm saying? I'm in a better position. So I'm going to pay for the majority of the things. Like, if she had it, she'd do the same thing. You know what I mean? So,
100%.
you know,
Yeah.
So if, God forbid, you lost everything today, you would come in and step up, or?
Yes, 100%. I still.
Absolute and utter lies. It does not matter what a woman says. It only matters what she does. And she is not telling the truth. Anyone can tell that if the money is gone, she would be gone in a heartbeat as well. This is an absolute disgrace. But you know what? You can't help fools.
With her and pay for everything. Yeah, of course. I love him. I don't care if he's broke. I would never care. Maybe at first I would have, because I wanted to go into a relationship with someone quite successful because I do well myself. But like, no, I don't give a damn if he lost everything. I love him so much.
Quite successful as myself. So this is the way that she is dressed out here. I wonder what she does for a living. You know, I mean, I wonder if it rhymes with fans. You know, I wonder if it rhymes with fans. Like only fools, lonely fans. I wonder if it rhymes with fans. All right.
Yeah, I hate saying that. It's embarrassing. Sorry.
If we were dating and a guy slid into your DMs, how would you handle it?
I wouldn't answer. And you know what? This is my case study right here. I was dating a guy, it was very public, and Lil Wayne slid in my DMs and I didn't answer.
Lil Wayne, Lil Tucci, Lollipop, 6 foot, 7 foot.
Lick me like a lollipop.
Yeah, Mr. Lick Me Like a Lollipop. Guys, don't think that there were dudes in the comments. By the way, this is a woman who actually does interviews just like Desirable Truth. She does her own interviews. She goes and interviews different people with her microphone, just like this dude, all right? She's all over social media. She's very popular for it. She's 6'1", but evidently that's like 5'11" in heels, 5'10", 5'11" in heels. But, you know, a lot of dudes are like, oh my gosh, she's so pretty, she's so gorgeous. Don't forget that Lil Wayne is a conservative. Lil Wayne was pardoned by Donald Trump because you know he had some like convictions from the past. Lil Wayne is a conservative, all right. So he got his pardon from Trump. So you have to understand where Lil Wayne, where he falls. These are the kinds of women that he's looking for, all right. And he slid into her DMs, damn well knowing that she has a man, because their relationship. I think I know which man she's talking about, all right, because it was very public. She met this dude that was very, very tall, and I guess she broke up with him for Lil Wayne.
Yep.
What did he even say to you?
He sent me a rose.
And then?
And then I didn't answer until I broke up with my ex.
Did he hit you back after?
Yeah.
Whoa, 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 whoa. So you're telling me Lil Tucci, the main man himself, and Gabby Gons are next up on the scene?
No, not at all. He's a friend. But I didn't answer him while I was in a relationship.
A friend. In other words, he blew the back out. All right. You know, he got to pet the kitty. He got everything. In other guys, he's a friend. He's basically that guy. He's a high value guy. The guy that she will not be able to pin down. It's basically a man that's out of her reach. It's a man. That's why I told you guys, it doesn't matter if you're a handsome man, doesn't matter if you're fat, doesn't matter any of these things when it comes to a woman. The only thing that matters is that she wants someone that she cannot have. She wants someone that is better than her. She wants someone that can basically have, you know, have her and then others. So, for example, Lil Wayne can have any woman that he wants. In other words, he's never going to be tied down to her. He's up there. She views him up there. So, of course, I got to be physically intimate with Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne is not the most handsome dude in the world. Lil Wayne is not the most fit dude in the world. Lil Wayne is actually quite little. All right, he's a pretty short dude. I was surprised how short this dude is. I'm not dissing Lil Wayne. I think some of his music is actually pretty interesting. I think this dude has a very large vocabulary. I think that he's a better rapper than Kendrick Lamar. Yes, I said it. And I think that he is totally underrated, even though he is rated up there. I think he could definitely be higher. Kendrick is definitely not on Lil Wayne's skill level. Get out of here with that. All right, and I don't listen to rap, and yet I respect Lil Wayne. I don't respect the stuff he was doing with Baby. I saw pictures of that, but you know, it is what it is. But this girl, she is so full of it. Whenever a girl says that he's just a friend, that means that that he's a person. He's the guy that she actually loves, the guy that she actually desires, the guy that she actually wants to be intimate with. But she's still out there in the streets looking for a Plan B guy that's going to provide for her, subsidize her life, and let her build her life off him while she's going around and creeping around with these dudes.
Because if a man slides in my DMs, unless if it's a business inquiry, I'll show it to my boyfriend and I'll ask him what his thoughts are and I'll run it by him. But I would never answer a man in my DMs that has ill intentions without talking to my boyfriend.
But wait, this is Lil Wayne we're talking about. So why wouldn't you give a man who is that successful a response?
Well, it was a conversation I had with my ex and he didn't want me to respond. And also he just said...
It was a conversation I had with my ex, which we pretty much know who that is, all right? Like I said, it was a very public relationship and he didn't want me to respond. Guys, the fact that she went and asked her ex if she could respond illustrates the fact that she wanted out of that relationship, and she's like, oh, Lil Wayne hit her up again afterwards. Did Lil Wayne hit you up after you didn't respond, or did you hit Lil Wayne up after you didn't respond? And how long in between you breaking up with your boyfriend and hitting up Lil Wayne? See, guys, women think we're stupid. They think we're stupid because we don't ask questions. So when did you break up with your boyfriend? When did Lil Wayne hit you up, and when did you break up with your boyfriend? And how soon after you broke up with your boyfriend did you speak to Lil Wayne? They think we're dumb. They think we're dumb and we can't use reason and common sense because of the Sims. That's why, guys, you have to, instead of focusing on dating, instead of focusing on relationships, you should be focusing on yourself, your relationship with God, and going your own way or walking away. But yeah, if you want to go your own way, do you. You know, the financial system is teetering on the edge. ATMs could freeze, they will freeze, and banks will shut their doors. Your wealth is in jeopardy, so what you need to do is discover how to safeguard your assets with crypto. And at Angry...
Gotta have that bag right, man. And you should have the bag right anyways, because you shouldn't be trying to date unless you got your money right. I always tell men, take care of yourself first and then look for a woman, you know? Build a foundation.
So is that why you brought a bag of money out here in Brickell tonight?
Hey, listen, it's out here to show people, like, listen, this is what Miami is about. Get your money right, come out here, and then you can play, all right? Stay where you at if you ain't trying to come play hard, you know what I mean?
This is a clown right here, bro. No one would be crying for this man if someone rolled up and was like, all right, little bro, we're going to take that from you, all right? That's us right there, all right? That's us right there. You know you're acting the fool, little bro, all right? Guys, that's why I say, these are the little homies right here. These are the little homies right here.
How much is that in your hand right now?
It's like 150,000. You know, I got another 150 on me in cash, so, you know what I'm saying?
Surely this can't be a smart idea.
Listen, man, when you got, hey, I pay 6 figures for security every month, so, you know, they around here.
So ultimately,
you know what's interesting? Did you know that the police could just come and say, hey, you know what? That money could be being used for nefarious methods, our means, and we're just going to confiscate it, and then he'll never get it back, and they'll have him crying his eyes out over that money. Only if, guys, that just shows you, like, guys, listen to me. That's why you should be out here getting your money. Like, forget about kindness. Focus on yourself and getting your bread up. Because if clowns out here are able to walk around with this kind of money, and what kind of value is this guy putting into the world? What's it, rapping, like promoting some nonsense? You got to be kidding me.
If a man is going to date in Miami, he needs to come ready to compete.
100%, because this is a big competing realm, you know? We all beat on our chests out here, you know? Rightfully so. You move to Miami when you want to compete, when you want to become the best version of yourself. So you have to put yourself against outside men, outside of people, you know what I mean? Like, and it just makes you a better person when you can out there and you can challenge yourself to say, yo, I got this.
But let's say I just moved to Miami and I had no money, no car, nothing. How would I pull a Miami 10?
Hey, listen, stay in the house, build your business, build yourself. You feel me? That's what I did. I built myself to the point where I can actually do the things I do, but stay in your own lane right now. You can't go crazy.
No. If I'm a man,
come on,
why shouldn't I date just because I'm broke?
Man, listen, hey, sex is for poor people. You can't be out here prioritizing your time with every dame out here, because guess what? They'll drain the little money that you have, and you'll be back poor again. You need to focus on yourself. Every man needs to focus on himself. That's when we make the most money, when we focus on ourselves.
Now, I do give this man credit. He's absolutely right. He said physical intimacy is for poor people, and he's not wrong about that. But then at the same time, what is he out here doing? All right, he's out here flaunting money, so he'll end up being broke all over again. Dude looks like a complete clown doing this nonsense.
So how much money should a man make verbatim before he should even think about talking to a woman?
$10,000 a month. $10,000 a month is an easy number to obtain if you're looking in the right areas for the actual line of work that you're trying to be in. I always tell people you can start a business, man. That's one of the most easiest things that you can do when it comes to scaling up, right? $2,500 a month, $2,500 a week is not hard to come by. You know what I'm saying? So $10,000 a month, and then you can pop out and actually afford certain luxuries for yourself so you can attract the women that you truly want to attract.
What's your age?
I'm 21. I'm 18.
And are you ladies single?
Yes, I am. 100%.
When it comes on to dating men in 2025, what problems are you running into?
Men are, can I curse? Men are sluts, they're whores, and they don't know how to settle down. They're disloyal fucking liars that will be two-faced to you and lie to you while looking right at you.
Surely not all men are like this.
We actually did get cheated on together by the same guy.
By the same guy?
Same guy.
Whoa. So walk me through how y'all even found out.
I dated a
We got cheated on together by the same guy, and now we're out here together looking for another guy that's exactly like the guy that cheated on us. This is the reason why I say, guys, you should forget about what a woman says, and instead focus solely on what a woman responds to. What do these women respond to? These women respond to these types of men. These women respond to the kinds of men that basically go around with many different women, break many hearts, and do this type of business. And it's a sad reality, but it's a reality that men have to realize and confront. It's absolutely disgraceful. That's why I say you should be focusing on getting your money, investing in crypto, and developing a relationship with God, not with these women. And this is the reason why women are going to find themselves in extraordinary states of hardship and poverty going forward, because more and more men are choosing to drop out of society, avoid relationships, realizing the juice is not the worth the squeeze. If I work hard and I make $10,000 a month, all right, why the hell am I going to take my money and invest that into someone who does not even care about me and only wants me because of my money? That's literal nonsense. If I want a relationship, I'll go overseas to a country where women are fit, feminine, and friendly, doing some dating over there, and then come right back when I'm done. Or I'll hire a professional if I want physical intimacy, and I'll get a much better experience that way. Okay? So let me know what you guys think about everything we discussed here, as dating has become brutal for men. We'll talk about it in the comments. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. And So I've said this plenty of times, that a society without its men is not a society. A society without its men is a wasteland. Men are being blamed for the bad economy. The Speaker, Mike Johnson of the House, is coming out and lashing out at men for not working, saying that they are responsible for the Medicaid program now skyrocketing, and there just not being enough tax revenue for the government. Yeah, men are actually being blamed for leaving society, and the government, specifically the Republicans and Mike Johnson followers, are demanding men return to society and serve society again. How is this going to affect society going forward in the long term, as more men leave the workforce and decide that since they're not getting married or having children and society doesn't like them, they are not going to give their bodies, their lives to society anymore, and instead live simple lives of luxury and comfort away from a reality, a society that doesn't like them? Don't forget to follow us on Rumble. It's linked in the description of the video. And guys, if you want to learn about crypto, we're here for you. You can go check out Angry's Crypto Academy to learn how to make a full-time living in crypto with courses and guides by visiting Angry's Crypto Academy, link in the description of the video. We're just going to go ahead and jump right into the article. So because it's we'll go ahead and jump right into the article because it's actually pretty fascinating what we're seeing right here. So as you can see on the screen right now, the article is actually titled "MAGA Cruelty, Johnson Blasted for Blaming Young Men to Justify GOP's Medicaid Cuts." And this is actually one of many articles that have been published just now. So Speaker of the House Mike Johnson is blaming what he calls young men playing video games instead of working as he defends Republicans' plan to gut Medicaid, slashing what Democrats say is $880 billion from the vital health program that provides medical care to 1 in 5 Americans. So he's basically blaming men not working for needing to cut almost $1 trillion in Medicare, and they're actually talking about a work requirement to collect Medicare. Medicare is for old people. Medicaid is for people who need help. No one has talked about cutting one benefit in Medicaid to anyone who's duly owed. What we've talked about is returning work requirements. So, for example, you don't have able-bodied young men on a program that's designed for single mothers and the elderly and disabled. Single mothers? Whose side is Mike Johnson really on? Said the speaker, Johnson's own Louisiana district has disproportionately high rates of Americans on the life-saving program. CBS News this week reported Medicaid is a lifeline for people in his district. Johnson blamed what he suggested is a large number of male gamers on Medicaid for draining resources, which is a load of BS. So if you clean that up and shore it up, you save a lot of money, and you return the dignity of work to young men who need to be out working instead of playing video games all day, he declared. This guy is an absolute fool. All it's going to do is result in is a bunch of men being uninsured. He thinks that men will work for health insurance. No, these men won't work for health insurance. They basically will just not have health insurance, not go to the doctor, and that's pretty much it. They're not going to go and work for health. He's insane. He's absolutely insane. Men are not going to go and work for health insurance. Okay, we have a lot of fraud, waste, and abuse in Medicaid. Just one tiny example, the estimate is $51 billion a year in Medicaid lost to fraud. That's unconscionable. The Louisiana GOP lawmakers claim that rather than target professionals who may be bilking the system or other factors, including paperwork errors, Johnson has chosen to repeatedly target what he claims our 29-year-old male sitting on their couches playing video games. The nonpartisan health policy organization KFF, formerly the Kaiser Family Foundation, reported in February that data showed most Medicaid adults are working or face barriers to work. Many Medicaid adults who are working low-wage jobs are employed by small firms in industries that have low employee-sponsored insurance offer rates. So KFF also reports that the vast majority of adult Medicaid recipients under the age of retirement, 65, are already working with no work requirement. The Congressional Budget Office estimates that adding a work requirement would only serve as a barrier to Medicaid participation, and therefore spending would not increase the employment levels for otherwise eligible recipients. In Arkansas, KFF reports implementing Medicaid work requirements resulted in more than 18,000 people losing coverage. Adding work requirements also increases monitoring and implementation costs at the state level. Critics blasted Johnson. Of course, nothing says dignity like ripping healthcare away from poor people based on outdated classist stereotypes, wrote Wall Street investment banker Evarasius Odinkazi. Young men on Medicaid aren't playing video games all day. They're often underpaid, overworked, or struggling in a rigged economy. This is just MAGA cruelty dressed up as moral judgment. Annie Schaub of the nonprofit Protect Our Care wrote, We know that people on Medicaid who are able to work already do. This will only hurt people and prevent them from getting the health care they deserve, including caregivers who are staying home and caring for family members. So yeah, he's pissed off. He's basically pissed off because men are walking away from society, and he's trying to do what they've always done, which is use men as a scapegoat for pretty much everything bad that's happening in society. Basically, we need to cut some bills. We need to basically save some money. Oh, we know what to do. We're just going to go after men. We're going to do what we've always done, and we're going to just crap on men and blame men for what's happening in society. So it's pretty crazy. It's absolutely crazy. It's absolutely crazy that what's going on as as men basically just say, hey, we're done with this society, we're done with this reality. And what they don't understand is that if they do this, it's going to hurt women a lot more than it's going to hurt men, because men are going to survive one way or another. Men will basically just go do some Uber Eats to meet the minimum work requirement, and then go from there. They'll do some Uber Eats, do some, start an online business, whatever, and show that they're doing like they're bringing in a minimum amount of income. So basically, this whole work requirement is just to prove that you pay taxes. So, and men pay the vast majority of all taxes. Men pay 80% of all taxes. Women make 80% of all consumer purchases. I already told you guys this, that a society without its men is not a society. A society without its men is a wasteland. And the moment that you begin to disrespect your men, you will soon cease to be a society. And that's what's happening all around the world right now. You have all of these countries that have disrespected their men, and now they are beginning to crash and burn, and they are looking to punish men and extract more wealth and resources from men. Like, well, we won't give you health insurance. I mean, here's the thing. It's only going to hurt women more, because it's going to force women who are not able to find jobs to also end up in this situation, unless they do some type of gendered gender discrimination, where they basically say, okay, well, women who are not working can have health insurance, but men can't. That would basically break the law. Don't get me wrong. I could definitely see them trying to do something like that, but it probably wouldn't work for them. So all they're going to do is actually make things worse for women, and make it much more difficult for women to qualify for healthcare. And they're the ones who use the majority of the healthcare system, not men. And it's like women basically are just now, as a result, we're just seeing women trying to rush back to traditionalism, even though they have nothing of value to offer most men today. So this actually came from PC Gamer. This one's from PC Gamer. It says, young men are playing video games all day instead of getting jobs because they can mooch off free healthcare, claimed congressman. To justify Medicaid cuts, House Speaker Mike Johnson says the healthcare program leads to able-bodied young men playing video games instead of working. Medicaid is a U.S. health insurance program for people with low incomes. It's funded by states and federal government, and like most government programs that help people in some way, it's one of Trump's administration's targets for cuts. Why video games, of course? More specifically, part of the plan is to implement work requirements for Medicaid eligibility. This is currently only a feature of the program in Georgia, and to justify adding this administrative hurdle for patients and states, Republicans are claiming that access to taxpayer-funded health care is causing young men to waste all their time playing video games instead of working. I told you guys, the average man, once a man's basic needs and necessities are met, he doesn't have to do anything. Men can live happily in a shoebox at the side of the road. Women can't. And so the government is basically pulling back and doing what everyone always does, blaming men for everything. Oh, we have to cut these because young men are not working. We have to do this. We have to do that. The irony is that it's really just giving them enough cover so they can take because it's mostly women on Medicaid. So they're really just using this as cover, blaming men for what they will actually disproportionately affect women. And then of course, it's like, what are women going to do? They can't do anything, because basically the state's like, yeah, we're just making these cuts, but it's not going to affect women because you guys are big and strong and you don't need no man, so you can go out there and find a job and survive. This is not going to affect you ladies. You guys are perfect and special, and you have feminism. You're feminist, so you can woman power, so you can go and make that money. All right, you'll be absolutely fine, because most of you ladies are working, right? So you don't have to worry about this. This doesn't affect you. This is for the bad boys, all right? The bad boy club. Guys, they are literally going after modern women with this. They're cutting their access to aid. This is really targeting women. It's absolutely targeting women, because like I said, this is not going to lead to men going back to work. Men will find other ways to survive. They'll use like urgent cares, where they pay like a small amount of money and access a smaller network of healthcare systems. There's a bunch of state programs as well for people who are unemployed. And the work requirement to collect Medicare would actually create more problems than anything else, because you have to talk about the homeless. Technically speaking, a lot of men can say that they're technically homeless, or they're basically, it's very, very hard. It's really hard to go after these men, because these men could basically say they're homeless, or they're in between jobs, and they've been looking, they can't find anything. if they go after these dudes, they could also say that they can also these men can basically then start going after things like Social Security, disability, which is what quite a few men are doing right now. And of course, men are investing in crypto, doing things like day trading. Guys, the reason why they're doing this is because we're heading for financial ruin right now. All right, the dollar is on the brink of collapse. You can see that happening, and especially, and Donald Trump is pushing to lower the. He wants to lower the value of the dollar. He wants to weaken the dollar so that it will basically other countries will invest in America, buy American goods, but more so they'll be able to refinance and push inflation higher so that they can refinance. He can refinance America's $36 trillion in debt for a lot less money, which basically means that we may be facing some very seriously hard times. I mean, when have we not been facing hard times? But yeah, so that he can refinance the debt, but it's all gonna just hit every single one of us. And the only way to really preserve the value of your wealth is to invest in crypto, because you have to understand that crypto is not tied fundamentally to the United States. It's a global currency, so people all around the world are holding it, meaning that the effect of the American economy does not directly affect crypto. If anything, it makes the value of crypto increase, because as the value of the dollar decreases, the value of crypto goes up, because crypto, believe it or not, does have some tangibility. Even though it's not something physically that you can hold, it is still a tangible asset. It's still a concrete asset that does exist and is limited in quantity, and it has real intrinsic value based on its usage case. So for that reason, by holding crypto, just like previously people held real estate and stocks and so forth, you're able to just wait. As the economy gets worse, your money will grow, and as that's happening, people are going to be jumping into crypto rapidly to get their piece, specifically the boomers. And what there's one thing we know about the boomers, it's that they're greedy, and as their 401ks begin to get wiped out and they have to remove their money into some other assets, they're going to put it in cryptocurrency. Guys, you're going to see, because the economy, the financial system is teetering on the edge. ATMs are going to freeze and the banks are going to chain the doors, and your wealth is in jeopardy. So you need to discover how to safeguard your assets with crypto. And at Angry's Crypto Academy, you'll learn how to buy, sell, trade, and invest in the most secure coins. Plus, you'll discover the dark horse crypto that virtually no one is talking about, which will mint you millionaires in the upcoming bull run. Click the link in the video description below to find out what this crypto is and join the academy today. So let's going back to the article. We'll jump back into it in just a moment. We're seeing that there's so many disparities, there's so much hardship that is now coming, and no one is coming to save anyone. All right, so let's see here. No one has talked about cutting any benefits and Medicaid to anyone who is duly owed. What we've talked about is returning to work, blah 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 blah. For example, you have able-bodied young men on a program that's designed for single mothers and the elderly. Single mothers, they're draining resources from people, said House Speaker Mike Johnson last week. So if you clean that up and shore it up, you save a lot of money, and you return the dignity of work to young men, dignity of work, dignity of being an SLAVE. That's why, guys, I tell you, this society absolutely despises us as men. All right? Basically, we have responsibilities without authority, which makes us SLAVEs, while women have privileges without accountability. All right? Which makes them privileged. They have power without accountability, which makes them privileged. Okay. Dun, 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 dun. So you return the dignity of work to young men who need to be out working instead of playing video games all day. Basically, the only reason why men ever went out and started working for society was because of the prospects of having a wife, kid, and children and family. The social contract has been broken, and yet the government wants men to maintain the social contract, even though it broke the social contract. The state broke the social contract, women broke the social contract. Hence, men have nothing to work for other than survival, and men don't need much to survive. Men can live happily in a shoebox at the side of the road, which is what many are doing, and now they're looking for any way possible to punish these men. Don't be shocked when they start talking about work requirements to play video games. Of course, this will only result in men returning to things like emulation and becoming even more minimalistic, and contributing even less money to the economy. I mean, this is what they did this is what they did leading up to the fall of the Roman Empire, where they banned single men from going to the Colosseums, public events, and punished them by making them run in the roads, and they were shamed and called worse than all of the criminals in all of the Roman Empire. And but these men still would not get married, and basically ended up with a society within 100 years of the children of Chad and Tyrone roaming the streets, who had no military. No man of value was going to have children or actually protect the empire. The military, the empire had no the empire ran out of money because it had been using all of its spoils to subsidize women. It was operating entirely on SLAVE labor, and men, and they had, and men basically gave up on this society because the society broke its social contract. It went from a society where the average man no longer had to work, the average Roman citizen did not have to work, to an empire where everything was now degrading, falling apart. They had no money, they had no military, they had no men. Men had given up, and it basically was just these rulers, still trying to subsidize the women. And then barbarians came along, realized that the emperor had no clothes, had no money, had no soldiers, had no men that were willing to stand and fight for the empire, and as such pillaged the empire, plunged America, right? Well, we're heading in that direction. Plunged the Roman Empire, which spanned most of Europe, into 1,000 years of darkness, where the Catholic Church then ruled over humanity for 1,000 years. And women basically lost their privileged status, and they had to go and work in the fields alongside men. But even though they were working alongside men in the fields, they ended up struggling and suffering much more than men during that dark era. That's the history of the Roman Empire. And of course, there's likely more to the story that we don't know. But what we do know is that women really suffered during the Dark Ages, and it happened because of how powerful they became. Because once they introduced no-fault divorces in the Roman Empire, these women began divorcing their husbands and running off with gladiators, with Chad and Tyrone. They refused to raise their children and said, let the nannies, let the SLAVEs raise those children. All right. And men, basically, it became a bad deal for men, and men said, yeah, we're not going to have this. We're just going to leave. We're going to abandon society. And the more you punish us, the more minimalist we become. And that's exactly what happened. You can take everything away from men, and men will basically find other ways to entertain them, entertain themselves. If you strip men of everything, they'll become simply like the monks, and they will go within. They will shut themselves down and look within, where they will have they'll keep next to no possessions whatsoever, very minimal dress, eat one time a day or even one time a week, and they will give up on society. And I've said this before, like if men were to go down the path of the monks, society as a whole would be absolutely screwed. What they want us to do is to be their SLAVEs and continually serve a society that absolutely despises us and does not like us indefinitely. But they don't understand that, with a society without its men is not a society. A society without its men is a wasteland. And of course, the state does not have a soul. Human beings have souls, but the state doesn't have a soul. The state is only cares about getting access to as much wealth and resources as it possibly can from men to continue subsidizing itself and keep it going. But it's catching up. It's bad karma, and women are the ones who are going to be affected the most in all of this, because there's not going to be any money to subsidize them going forward, and men are no longer going to subsidize them. There's going to be no more marriage for modern women, so women are going to find themselves in the coming decade in extraordinary hard situations. They said they would rather the bear, but now now you see them crying on social media that they don't want to go hang out with Yogi and Boo Boo, but it's just not happening. So anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts regarding all of this. Men are being blamed for the bad economy, but honestly, I don't think most men care. That's only going to push them further into minimalism. Let me know your thoughts, and we'll talk about it in the comments. Like the video if you like it.
Hey y'all, it's me. I think I'm giving up the dating apps.
When it comes to guys approaching you, like they're scared. Like they need a signal.
40K, 50K, a guy on 40K, 50K cannot afford you. Can't afford me.
Dating has become some type of a scary. Men aren't men.
It's always a man's fault, isn't it? Just when will men stop being blamed for everything?
Hi, I'm 25. I have been single for my entire life.
Can we normalize being single? Like, why is everyone always trying to get into a relationship?
The reason you haven't found love yet, if you're a single woman who's over 30, isn't because you're...
It's because many of them were too busy playing the field. Now they struggle for love. Kindly subscribe to the channel as it further supports us in our work. Thank you.
When it comes to guys approaching you, like, they're scared. Like, they need a signal. And back in the olden days, the Jane Austen era, women would drop a handkerchief because a woman could never go up to a man because, like, sexism. So a woman would drop her handkerchief on the ground, like, in front of a guy, and then he would pick it up and then he would approach her. That handkerchief in the old days is a smile in 2023, okay?
Never having been in a relationship, chronic singleness should be studied because it does something to your brain. It messes with your brain. Never having been picked, never having been wanted, never having been desired, as you go through all of these years, 27 years for me, 27 years of wanting connection and trying really hard for it and not getting it. And that chronic singleness is something that wasn't talked about when I was younger. And I'm so grateful we're talking about it now. And then you're gaslit by people in a society that tell you that you shouldn't care about it, that if you want it, there's something wrong with you. At the same time telling you should be wanting it because all the books, all the movies, everything is talked about is romantic love and what it is like and what it feels like and that you should want it. And so when you seek after it and you never get it, it messes with your brain.
I mean, I get it. This woman is dealing with the painful reality that she's never been in a relationship, never been chosen, never truly desired. And honestly, she's not alone. There are so many women out there voicing the exact same thing. They're opening up about how they crave love, real connection, and someone to share life with. But no matter how hard they try, it just doesn't happen. She said she's been trying to be in a relationship for 27 years and hasn't been able to find one. That's wild. 27 years of trying and not one single relationship? That's either a serious case of bad luck or there's something deeper going on that she's not talking about. That means she's probably been through a few dating phases, trends, and shifts in the dating world. If you've gone that long without forming even a basic connection, it might not be that no one wanted her. It might be that she only wanted certain types of people.
I'm really curious if anyone else in LA feels like you have a social life, you have friends, but you really just feel so lonely, like all the time.
Let's be honest, sometimes being single can really suck. And I know I advocate being single a lot on this, and I do believe it. I think being single has a lot of benefits. But I also want to be real and acknowledge the fact that some days it doesn't feel great. And I think when I have those moments, especially when I'm feeling down about being single, one thing that really helps me is I remind myself that the universe has a plan for me.
Dating has become some type of a scary thing. Men aren't men anymore. They say they want a good woman, but they really just want to have sex. They will spend the money on you for dates if you get a date, but they lie. They lie so much. They scream, I'm single, but they're messing with a handful of women. It is so scary to date. It is so scary to trust anybody. And the ones that really pretend like they're ready have so much trauma, have so much baggage that they really don't have the ability to be in a relationship. They just want one so bad because they're needy, but they yet say women are needy.
I understand your frustration, madam. I really do. But if you keep going for the same types of men over and over again, it's no wonder you keep getting played. At that point, it's not even about bad luck. It's about bad choices. It becomes your fault for falling for the same trap multiple times, especially by men who clearly show they're emotionally unavailable and only looking for something casual. You can't say men aren't men anymore simply because you failed to evaluate. That's not a fair assessment. It's just deflection. You didn't take the time to truly understand the man in front of you. You ignored the red flags, overlooked the warning signs, and romanticized a situation that was never serious to begin with. And now, you want to blame all men for the poor choices you made? That's not accountability. That's victimhood.
These are things I find incredibly chic. The first one is never having had a boyfriend ever. It's giving so chic, just being a chronically single girl. Another thing that's incredibly chic is not having had your first kiss. Like, okay, honestly the most chic thing there is. Lastly, I think being a hopeless romantic is incredibly chic. If you relate to any of this, just remember you are chic.
Get ready with me while I talk about being chronically single at 22. I don't know, it's just something that has always bothered me. Obviously, getting older, everyone has been in multiple relationships before and have experienced a lot of different things. I haven't. No, it's not a bad thing, but it does make me sad sometimes.
Dating in 2025 as a woman. So, majority of women will have a better experience having multiple men and being a hoe in 2025 than having one man. This is unfortunate because of the quality of men. Men are not able to step up to the plate anymore. They're all becoming feminine. They're all using